Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham joins us from Clemson tonight. Senator, good to have you with us. You were listening to the president this evening. What do you think?
I think there'll be a lot of bipartisan support in Congress for this proposal. I'm proud. I'm relieved. I'm proud of the fact that President Trump made a national security decision, not a political decision. I'm proud of the fact that he listened to the generals. And most proud of the fact that he shows the will to stand up to radical Islam. I'm relieved that he did not take the advice to withdraw, which would have been disastrous, or create a mercenary army. So I'm very pleased, very thoughtful, very inspiring speech, and I can assure you a lot of people in Congress will be behind the president.
Senator, you have not been afraid to be critical of this president, and you have been on the back end of 140 characters or less from the president's Twitter account a few times recently. Your thoughts on the open to that speech, referencing the Charlottesville situation?
If he had given that speech in Charlottesville, we probably wouldn't have had much of a entanglement. It's not about Charlottesville tonight. It's about going forward in Afghanistan. Winning a war you can't afford to lose. And you know how I feel about hearing my commander-in-chief say that we're there to win? There's two things he's doing that will allow us to be successful. The gloves are off inside of Afghanistan. I was in Afghanistan in July with Senator McCain, and I heard from soldier after soldier how frustrating it is to see a terrorist and you can't kill him. And we've also put Pakistan on notice that if somebody kills an American soldier in Afghanistan, they go to Pakistan, we're holding you accountable, and we're coming after those terrorists no matter where they go. So the game has changed with Pakistan. The gloves are off inside of Afghanistan. We need a diplomatic surge. India can be very helpful, but I am very pleased with this plan, and I am very proud of my president.
Senator Graham, you know, you talked about micromanaging and that was not the way that he wanted to handle this this military engagement. Your thoughts on that and communication, which we know there was not a whole lot of between the Obama administration and the generals on the ground.
Well, number one, he delegated to the generals, the Secretary of Defense and the Joint Chief of Staff to make military decisions. I can say this, that General Obama was a lousy general. And President Trump understands that General Mattis and General Dunford are really good at what they do. So he delegated down to the military, and we have a conditions-based withdrawal. President Obama announced we were going in and coming out on the same speech. It was a disaster from the beginning. So he's trusting his military. He's giving them the authority that President Obama never gave them, and we're going to make our decisions based on conditions on the ground, not an arbitrary passing of time. So hats off to President Trump for not becoming General Trump, because General Obama was a real lousy general, and that's part of the mess we're inheriting, is that General Obama tried to play a job he wasn't qualified to play.
Senator, you know there are politicians who are like candidate Trump was. He explained that tonight, saying he's evolved behind the Oval Office desk. But one of those politicians is Senator Rand Paul, who put out a statement saying the Afghanistan war going beyond its original mission has enormous cost. First and most important is the cost to our troops. Deaths, injuries, and unnecessary deployments causing harm to families are certainly the most important reason as to why you don't go to wars that aren't necessary. Then comes the taxpayer. We spent over $1 trillion in Afghanistan, nearly $5 trillion in the Middle East wars over the past 15 years. Just wrapping up here, would we not be better off with $5 trillion less in debt or using these funds in other more productive ways? So I strongly disagree with the administration's actions here. If the president and my colleagues want to continue the war in Afghanistan, then at the very least Congress should vote on it. I'll insist they do it this fall, and I'll be leading the charge for no. Your reaction to that?
I'll be leading the charge for yes, and I trust General Mattis, Dunford, and Kelly more than I trust General Paul. I think he's actually a worse general than General Obama, believe it or not. General Paul's been wrong about everything in this war. It's that kind of thinking that got us into 9/11. You may be tired of fighting the terrorists. They're not tired of fighting you. On September the 10th, 2001, we did the Rand Paul way. We didn't have one soldier in Afghanistan. We didn't have an embassy. We didn't have a dime of aid going to Afghanistan, and they hit us anyway. This is is a war between radical Islam and the rest of us. They hate our guts. They're not going to stop fighting us until we kill them and stabilize Afghanistan. Here's the good news. After 22 visits to Afghanistan, people are not buying what the Taliban are selling, what Al-Qaeda and ISIL are selling. Millions of girls are in school. The infant mortality rate has gone down. The life expectancy is going up. 6,000 Afghan soldiers and policemen died last year. 14 Americans. I've been there a lot. They don't want what radical Islam is selling. It is in our national interest to help them, and Senator Paul has had it wrong all the way.
Should
and
Congress
I will be
have to vote
behind
on
President.
It, though?
I'm willing to vote on it. I don't think we have to, but I will. We got to appropriate the money. I'm on the Appropriations Committee. I'm on the Armed Services Committee. I will fight Senator Paul tooth and nail to make sure that we don't lose in Afghanistan like we did in Iraq. It's just exactly what President Obama did in Iraq, was to leave against sound military advice. President Trump has the smarts and the moral courage to listen to his generals and take their advice rather than going the political way. And I'm so proud he did, because unlike Obama, President Trump is listening to his generals. And to my colleagues in Congress, you will own a no vote. The next 9/11 will be your fault, not President Trump's fault, if you shoot down this plan, because this is a solid plan. This will turn things around in Afghanistan. It's putting Pakistan on notice. I have a lot of confidence this will work, but it won't be easy. They will try to break our will into President Trump. You've shown the will to stand up to radical Islam, but my friend, they're going to come after us. They're going to try to break your will. Don't let them. Stick with it.
Lindsey Graham, Senator from South Carolina, thank you so much. Good to have you with us tonight, Senator.
Thanks, Senator.
So when we come back, Dana